and welcome into the Week 10 early game halftime with Harmon live stream. I'm Matt Harmon. Welcome into the show. It's halftime here in Week 10, and it's been a fun slate of games so far. A couple of major storylines to jump right into, and the first one I'm going to bring up is Allen Robinson, who looks fully healthy. I mean, of course, you guys know I'm going to sit here and talk about Allen Robinson. He took some time off with a groin injury. The Bears really didn't need him much against the Bills or the Jets their past couple of games. They controlled those contests, did not take a single snap while trailing in that game. And, oh, by the way, they haven't done so here either this week. Allen Robinson, if you played him, he's fully healthy. He's looking good. And I jump into that game's stats right now. I mean, the Lions are really getting just demolished by the Chicago Bears. The Bears offense looks good, 26-7 lead. They jumped out to a 26-0 lead. Matthew Stafford does not look good. Look, Mitchell Trubisky, people still want to keep talking about him not being a viable NFL starting quarterback or, not looking great. He's looked incredible in this game, I think. 209 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He made a great escape from the pocket. He's top 2 in QB rushing yards this year, up there with Cam Newton. I've loved what I've seen from Mitchell Trubisky, given where he's at in his development, given that he wasn't a long-time college starting quarterback. He was in, a real dysfunctional offense his rookie year. Now with the talent around him, I think he's looked real good here as a second-year quarterback. So I'm happy with where Mitchell Trubisky's at. I'm happy with where Allen Robinson is back here, and he's at 4 for 99 and a touchdown on 5 targets right now. He's a difference maker for this offense. I think this is the healthiest he's been as a Chicago Bear. So going forward, Allen Robinson's the guy that you're going to get in your fantasy lineups because he's the clear top passing game difference maker for the Chicago Bears. And look, I love that we just got a question from the Twitter chat. Well, not a question, just a statement. Was debating Mitchell Trubisky or Andrew Luck, and gives the shrug emoji. Guess it didn't matter. No, it did not. And let's actually jump over to that game right now. Fun contest going on there. Well, not fun if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. I'll tell you that. This has not been a fun game, but 29-16 Colts over the Jags. I mean, the Colts right now, I think, are the more well-rounded team than the Jacksonville Jaguars. That might be, a hot take, I guess, given because the Jags went to the playoffs last year. But look, the Colts have really taken big steps this year. I think this is kind of a lose or go home game. Win or go home game for whichever one of these AFC South teams comes out of this contest with a win. I think they can still kind of push for an AFC wildcard potential. They also could, get hot and make a run at the division, even though they're well behind a team like the Texans right now. I think the Colts are the better team. Their offensive line has been fixed this year. They are top 3 in run blocking metrics like Football Outsiders. Adjusted line yards. They have not allowed sacks for weeks coming into this game. So I really like what I'm seeing from the Colts here. But the big storyline, and of course it was the headliner for our show today, and we've got to pull up the tweet about it here. Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron right now has 3 touchdowns. Scored his 3rd touchdown of the day earlier. Has 2 receiving touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. And you can see if you started Jack Doyle, you're upset. And Jack Doyle was a popular play because, look, Eric Ebron, in terms of snaps played the last time we saw the Indianapolis Colts, was the number 4 tight end on the team in terms of snap plays. Not just offensive players, snaps. Pretty wild that he was, 4th place there. Jack Doyle, the clear leader. Doyle has not scored a touchdown. Mo Alley Cox, the other Colts tight end, actually has a receiving touchdown in this game. But Luck is playing really well. 3 touchdowns again today. He's actually came into this game despite already having his bye week. Was number 2 in touchdown passes behind only Patrick Mahomes. And a question from Dwayne in the chat that I think we can hit right away. Is it okay to drop Le'Veon Bell? If you think you can live with it, I think he's a guy you can drop on waivers because if he does not return to the team on Tuesday, he's reportedly just not eligible to play for the rest of the season. It looks like Le'Veon Bell is indeed intent on just walking, just getting out of Pittsburgh, getting paid elsewhere. So, look, it's a tough business decision for Le'Veon Bell. I don't necessarily think he's making the right decision. I think you go out there, you collect checks, you get paid, because who knows what's going to happen in free agency. It's a big risk that he's taking. But for fantasy purposes, for you all out there watching, asking questions about it, look, if you held Le'Veon Bell this long, you've made a mistake. You made a mistake. There's just no way around it. But I think you can recover from that mistake by not holding on anymore. Again, if he's not going to come back by Tuesday, he's not eligible to play for the rest of the season, let it go. You made a mistake, just move on. I think we just go from there. Question from Chris Allen in the chat. Hey, Matt, what are you doing with any Lions players? I mean, the one guy I feel good about is Kerryon Johnson here. The rest of the passing game weapons have, they've really eroded without Golden Tate there. Let's pull up that game right now. Go back into, we were talking about the Chicago Bears. Someone asked in the chat, is Allen Robinson a stud going forward? Absolutely. Talked about that to start to show Allen Robinson is a must-play every single week going forward. And look, the Lions right now, they're just not a great passing offense. Stafford has an interception, took 2 more sacks today after taking 10 last week. That's rough. This passing game doesn't have a safety net. They don't have a guy like Golden Tate who just had these layup receptions but could also make plays after the catch. That was a big difference maker to just take out of the offense. In the middle of the season, guy was on pace for triple-digit catches, on pace for 1,200 yards, and they just yank him out of the offense, send him to the Eagles for a draft pick. They didn't get better. And now you're looking at guys, like Marvin Jones, Kenny Golladay, and these guys are all right today. They've caught all of their targets. Golladay, 3 for 32. Marvin Jones, 2 for 23. These guys are going to be boom or bust wide receiver 3s going forward because the volume's going to be there. Because who else in the Detroit Lions offense? You're looking at like Levine Toilolo, Theo Riddick. These guys aren't difference makers. Golladay and Jones can be vertical playmakers. The thing is, Jones is not truly a number 1 receiver. Kenny Golladay might be able to get there, but he's not there yet. As good as he's played this year, he's not there yet. So you're relying on these guys as big play weapons. You're relying on there with big play weapons. We got from the chat, Tank Williams, my guy, Tank. What's up, dude? He's asking on Facebook, of course, Tank Williams, former NFL stud, former football player himself, one of our Fantasy Football Live analysts. He asks, what are your thoughts on Josh Gordon in the second half? And do you use juices and berries in your hair? I'll address the first part. No berries, no juices. I got a paste, a pomade, or a paste, whichever one, works for the season. I can't get into all that. That's the secret sauce. But what you got to do is run the paste through your hair, comb it out, let it sit for a little bit, comb it out again, then put the hairspray in. That's what you do, Tank. I don't know if that's going to work for you specifically, but I appreciate you asking for everyone else. And thoughts on Josh Gordon in the second half? Look, I think that with the Patriots going into the second half, trailing the Tennessee Titans, and actually let's jump over to that game. Let's jump over to that box score right now because this is a fascinating game to me. Because, look, I'll admit it. I've been excited about the Tennessee Titans all year. I've been really wanting them to happen. Maybe they're finally starting to figure it out. Dion Lewis has been the feature back the last few weeks. Of course, Derrick Henry has the touchdown. Great. That sucks. But Dion Lewis leads the team, 11 carries for 38 yards. Marcus Mariota, 152 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half, completing 68.8% of his passes. That's a lot more than Tom Brady with only a 47.8% completion rate. I'm just saying. Anyways, I think the Titans offense might finally start to figure it out. I think we're seeing a scenario where this might be the beginning of the Titans offense. But anyways, I like that they are I like that there's a lot of juice in this offense right now. They have the lead. I think that's going to force the Patriots to attack in the second half. I think we see Bill Belichick target Malcolm Butler, a guy that he benched in the Super Bowl, took a lot of heat for. And, of course, coming into Week 10, he was allowing the most catches, yards, and touchdowns in his coverage this year, more than any other cornerback. I think Bill Belichick is going to want to prove a point there. I think Josh Gordon is going to be the guy. He has a team-high 9 targets right now. I think you're feeling good about what Josh Gordon is going to give you for the rest of this game, Tank. I want to pop into 2 more storylines before we jump out of here. A couple questions from our Twitter audience right now about Aaron Jones. Do you think Mike McCarthy is going to be petty towards Aaron Jones? Talk about petty Bill Belichick. Will Mike McCarthy do the same thing? I don't know. I think that the Packers are starting to realize that Aaron Jones gives them the best chance to win. And the Packers don't really have time to be petty, man. They're behind the 8 ball here at 3-4-1. We have not seen them in this position for quite some time. I think that Aaron Jones is a guy they're going to start to rely on more, even though he had that late game fumble, which really kind of turned the tide for the Packers. I would hope that rational coaching would indicate that you just go back to this guy. Of course, I say that, and I'm relying on frickin' Mike McCarthy to be that rational actor. That's a tough one. And in terms of Aaron Jones or Marquez Valdes-Scantling, that pretty much just is a ceiling floor decision from our Twitter chat. Do you need a floor? Because I think Aaron Jones is going to be the safer floor play, but Marquez Valdes-Scantling, he's averaging the second most air yards on the team the last 4 weeks, behind Devontae Adams. He's the guy right now that you can play every single week as a flex, as a wide receiver 3. You just got to understand he's going to be more volatile than Aaron Jones. So if you need the floor play, go with Aaron Jones. If you need the ceiling, chase MVS there against the Dolphins. So popping back over to the New Orleans Saints Cincinnati Bengals game, that was one I wanted to talk about headed into this. And I'll pull up the Yahoo Fantasy feed right now. We got a quick recap of what the Saints did to the Bengals in the first half. Yeah, that's right. Literally kicking them out of the universe. 35-7, New Orleans Saints over the Cincinnati Bengals. Everybody on the Saints pretty much is eating right now. Drew Brees, 90% completion rate. Amazing. Mark Ingram, 741 on the ground. Oh, by the way, one nice long catch on a dynamite screen pass. Sublime design there where they get Alvin Kamara out into the flat, and then they work the screen the other way. The defensive attention is over there with the more dynamic receiving back. They leak the screen out there. We'd show you the play, but we don't have the rights to it. But Mark Ingram catches the long pass there. Michael Thomas eating with 2 touchdowns, 6 catches, 62 yards. Alvin Kamara has 2 touchdowns. The Saints are thumping the Bengals, who, gosh, really bad effort in this game. I don't normally like to call out effort, but some of whether it's the fact they have all these backup linebackers in, they have their best offensive player out for the game, AJ Green, pretty brutal there. I do not think this is going to turn into some big garbage time redemption performance. And this was why I was nervous about Andy Dalton as a QB streamer. Without AJ Green, who is the dynamic player in the Bengals passing game? You could say Joe Mixon, sure, but it's easier to take away running backs than a number 1 wide receiver. A number 1 wide receiver is tough to take out of the game. And when you do take them out of the game, a player like Tyler Boyd can really rip you up in the slot. Not happening today with 2 for 29. We'll see what happens in the second half. Maybe the Bengals recover some statistics in garbage time. We will see. And last thing I want to hit on before we get out of here, Baker Mayfield. 12 for 12 in the first half. Is it Baker Mayfield time here, finally? You got to like what you see with this little GIF edit that my wonderful producer, Ravi, what a guy, what a stud. Not just a good human, but a nice guy as well. And really puts up with me, which, that's a lot to ask. But jumping into that Browns game, they lead 14-10 coming into the third quarter. They're now up 21-10 here. Baker Mayfield, 3 touchdown passes. He was 12 for 12 in the first half, 14 for 16 right now, 87.5% completion rate. Very impressive by one Baker Mayfield. Nick Chubb is leading the way. I hope you didn't chase the Duke Johnson, every positive stat that could have come out of a 1-week coincidence. But we will address that more on the Yahoo Sports Fantasy Podcast tonight, so tune into that wherever you get podcasts. It's been fun to watch this Browns offense come together. Duke Johnson did get the 3rd receiving touchdown of the day, but Nick Chubb has led the way in the backfield, also has a receiving touchdown. But that is going to be it for the Week 10 early game halftime with Harmon stream. If you enjoyed this show, makes them fumble more. The second edition. It makes them think about it too much, and then they can't just run. Pacific for the late games. We'll recap more fantasy action. We'll take your questions from the chat. You can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, when I say Facebook, Periscope, Twitter. We love you. We love you, Twitter. And you can follow me on Twitter, speaking of, @MattHarmon_BYB. And we are out of here.